Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Favour and today we are talking about how you are the niche and the need to be your authentic self in a world where, frankly, so many people aren't. Right. I'm gonna be so real. I feel like a lot of what I see nowadays is just very samey in terms of content, people, how they look. I feel like a lot of people look the same now, which is a separate conversation for another time. But I feel like we as humans have slowly lost our sense of individuality, and it's now more apparent than ever. I just find myself scrolling sometimes through social media and just getting so tired of seeing content because I just feel like everything is the same. People are regurgitating the same thing. And I think social media is a big part of that, because it's allowed us to be aware of what we are all doing, where back in the day we wouldn't know what the next man was doing. And so that's obviously influenced our decisions and influenced how we show up to the world. And so I feel like slowly we're all just acting and having very similar views and losing that sense of our unique identities. And I think it's just because there's so much noise. We're hyper aware of everything that's going on, and there's so many opinions and so many voices, and it's caused us to lose our own convictions about certain things and our own personal thoughts about certain things. Because think about how many decisions or how many thoughts or views you have about certain things that have been influenced by the masses. You know what I mean? Not just maybe in politics, but in pop culture. Or I feel like being aware of other people's views on certain things or how other people are living their lives naturally only slowly influences how we see or live our lives. And sometimes even personally with content creation, I find myself having to make a conscious decision of, am I making content that is true to me and putting out what I want to put out? Or am I just putting out what I know other people will like to see, or following a trend that's popular at the moment? And that's another thing, trends. Very rampant in this day and age. And the thing about trends is that they come and go so quickly. Just with social media and other aspects of life, it's so easy to hop on a trend and for it to be gone the next day. And following trends is something that's so rampant in our society nowadays. And it's very tempting a lot of the time because with trends, you can follow it and get quick notoriety or gain in some sense or another. And I think that has caused people to lose a sense of, what do I want to put out in the world? How do I want to show up? Because a lot of the time we just follow what's popular because we know that it's going to lead to mass appeal, but it might not necessarily resonate with who we are. And I think for me, that's something I've had to come to terms with, making that decision of, am I going to follow certain trends on social media, or am I going to show up as my true self and put out what I want to put out? And this also leads into my music because, oh boy, music has changed a lot. The music industry has changed tremendously over the years, and sometimes it's hard to forecast where things are going. I think we're just in a weird time for music at the moment because people just aren't sure of what works anymore. Because especially the music industry is so influenced by trends and pop culture at the moment, and these things are so fleeting. A lot of the music industry is very heavily influenced by TikTok, which contributes massively to trends and pop culture and all of that sort of thing. And the truth of the matter is that labels aren't developing artists like they did back in the day. We don't have the superstars with long-lasting careers like we did back in the day because labels are not sure what works anymore, and they're too scared to take the risk on someone where they could just sign a TikTok artist who is popular at the moment and get a quick return for the investment. But that artist might be gone the next day. And it's super sad to see that we don't really have superstars of the likes of Michael Jackson, Prince, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Beyonce as much anymore, or if any, like very few. And, just looking forward, it's just kind of worrying. But I think that's the issue at the moment. So many people are just following trends and losing a sense of individuality, and even in the arts as well. Like, music is starting to sound so similar. For me as a musician, I've made that conscious decision that I want to show up as my true self, and I want to put out art that does resonate with who I am and with what I'm inspired by and my story, and put out my authentic voice into the world. Because in as much as things are popular and it's good to be attentive to, what is doing well at the moment, if you focus so much on what is popular and you try to, follow it and make that your identity, you will slowly lose a sense of who you are. And that is hard to get back, So I just often remind myself that being your true self and wanting to show up as your unique self in all aspects of your life, it is harder than just following the conventional path of, what is popular or what will, lead to mass appeal. But personally, I feel the people who are authentic in themselves and are authentic in the way they show up in the world and in their art and whatever they do, have longevity in their craft and whatever they're doing, because they have a greater conviction about who they are and the reason why they're doing it, and they're not easily swayed by trends and what's popular. If you don't have that, today it might seem you're at the top of the game and things are going well. Other the next day, you are not relevant anymore because you've just been following the trends, and that's since changed. And I think the reason why people follow the masses dates back to years and years ago, because of the need to survive. You wanted to be part of the tribe and you wanted to fit in. If you didn't fit in to the tribe, then you are outcast and you wouldn't be able to survive on your own. So it's that need to survive that I think causes people to follow the masses and be sheep. But yeah, this is a topic that really resonates with me because it's something that's really important to how I show up to the world and my personal conviction of myself. There's this phrase I associate with myself, which is misfit with a dream. And I think that just reminds me of the need to be authentic to who I am and the message I want to put out in the world and how I want to show up in the world. A lyric that stands out to me in one of my songs says, "The ones that make the change are always misfits in the end." And I love that quote because it's so true. Like, when I look back at all the people who have made a lasting impact in this world or done something of notoriety, they were misfits. They didn't follow the status quo, the masses. They were innovative and were able to do something to make a change. And it's something that really resonates with me because that's how I want to show up to the world. I want to show up as my authentic self and put my authentic stamp on what I'm saying and my message to the world. So yeah, that's why this topic really resonates with me. But another thing I wanted to remind people is that you are the niche. No two people are the same, even identical twins. The way you view the world, your opinions, your art, everything is different from the next man. So in as much as someone else might have a similar view to you or might have put out art that's similar to you, don't let that stop you from sharing your own perspective. The mere fact that it's coming from you is unique in itself. So put out your art. Don't let the fact that someone else is doing something similar stop you, because you will have your own audience. And that's another thing. I feel like the other reason why it's important to stay true to yourself is, although it is a longer game, you will find your audience in time. And the people that do gravitate towards you are going to be the real people that support you because they support you for you. I think in this time where there's so much going on and so much noise and it's so easy to lose a sense of who we are and our own personal convictions, sometimes it's important for us to take a step away from social media and all the noise and really dig deep and think about, who am I? How do I want to show up to the world? Just be connected to who we truly are. Because the more time we spend on social media and amongst all the noise, we lose a sense of our personal convictions and our sense of identity. But yeah, that's just something I've been thinking about and just wanted to share. But I'm curious to know if anyone agrees, disagrees, or has any other views. Do drop a comment and let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.